Good morning. Just had a quick request for another sound check. We'll get started as soon as we're done this. Mrs. McGurk's class, can you hear me? Hiya! I hope everyone can hear me. I hope everyone's had a good morning. Happy Thursday. Let's get started. You can hear us. Good. Okay, let's get started then. So welcome back. This is day 4 of our Spring Clean live lesson week for 2023. Really glad to have you with us again. We've had so much fun this week already, and today we're going to learn a little bit more. But first, we're going to test our knowledge from yesterday. So, can you remember how long have we been playing Tig for? I love Tig, such a good game. Can anyone remember? You put your hands up in your class or put it in the chat. I think it's a very, very long time. And don't worry if you weren't with us yesterday, because you can watch the lesson on the recording on our website. And we won't give too much away just now. We're just going to ask a couple questions. Aha! Some people have very keen memories, and that's right. 2 classes already have guessed that it, or not guessed, remembered. It's at least 1,900 years, which that's a very, very long time. But that's all right, because it's understandable, because Tig is a very fun game. And right, what else did we learn yesterday? From Play Scotland, we had Jenny in, who taught us all about playground games and all about why play is so important. Now, can anyone remember why playing is so important? Does anyone remember what she said? There's a few answers. There's a few right answers here. So maybe if you can remember one of them. I think there's 4 or 5 answers. So if you can remember one of them, put them in the chat. You can tell the person next to you maybe, or put your hand up in your class and tell your teacher. There's lots of good answers coming through already. That's right. A lot of you are very right. So let's see, why is play so important? First of all, you're right, it's for brain development. It helps our brain grow in a healthy way. It is for independence. It helps us to be independent. It's fun, which is pretty important, I think. And it helps with socializing, which is making friends and making relationships with other people. And also, most important one of all, physical fitness is in the chat as well. That's another good one. But the most important one of all is it's a right. Everyone has the right to play, right? Also, we learned that litter in parks is affecting this right to play. Some children are more affected than others, but we all need and we deserve clean places to enjoy and have fun. So we need to do something about litter, because litter only attracts more litter, doesn't it? So what are we going to learn about today? Today, we're going to learn about tackling litter from its source. And we're going to learn all about the 3 R's. Sometimes we talk about 5 R's, sometimes we talk about 7. But today, we're going to focus on 3 of them. Okay? Now, do you remember, I think it was on Monday, we talked about how much waste does each of us produce every year in Scotland? If you weren't with us earlier, you can just take a guess. That's all right. It's a pretty big number. How much waste does every single person produce every year in Scotland? Excuse me. I can see one person's got it right already, so well done. 450 kilograms, yes, that's a lot. And someone else has mentioned that that is a moose's worth of waste, which is a very large amount. I just wanted to add in here because, as you know, I grew up in Canada, so I have a very good idea of how big a moose is, but many of you out there may never have seen a moose. So here is a drawing from one of the provincial governments in Canada. It's a place called British Columbia, and they have a safety campaign out for people to watch for moose by the side of the road, like we do here for deer. And if you notice, The third animal along there is a moose, and look how big he is compared to the person standing next to their car. He's a very, very big animal. So imagine a pile of litter that big and that heavy. That's quite a lot. So, can you also remember how many pieces of litter are dropped in the UK every day? Someone put this answer for how much waste we produce. So you've got the right answer, but the wrong question. This is also a very, very big number. It's a big, quite a impressive number, but in the wrong way, right? How many pieces? And this is the UK as a whole, not just Scotland, but it's still a very big number. There's a lot of good memories out there. That's right. It's more than 2 million pieces of litter dropped every single day. So how can we turn this moose into a mouse? Or, as I might say if I was less Canadian, a moose. How are we going to make this pile of waste smaller? How can we turn this pile into something the size of a mouse instead? How can we waste less and also, therefore, litter less? What do you think? Maybe have a think, but don't say just now. Keep it in your mind, right? I think you probably are thinking the 3 R's, right? Maybe those are rattling around in your head. You think maybe it's got something to do with those. Maybe those are a good way of doing this. Shrinking that pile down. So, can you put the 3 R's that we're going to talk about today from the best way to reduce waste to the least best way to reduce waste? What order do you think we should try to practice these in? You don't have to put it in the chat if you want to discuss it a bit. You can just think about it yourselves or tell the person next to you and see if you get it right. There's a specific order that these should go in because some of them are a lot more helpful if we do them first. And there's others that we should be doing last. I can see some people making guesses already. There's a few good ones in there. Have a think about which one you think would help shrink the moose the most first. We want to get that pile of waste that we make as small as possible. Right? So I'm going to move on, but you can have a think about it. You can write it down and see if you're right. Okay, and then we'll talk about why. Okay, the order these should go in is first we should reduce, and then we should reuse, and then we should recycle. And that's maybe not always the way we think about it, but this is the best way to do it. So why is reduce the most important of these R's? Why do we think that's the most important? Well, let's look at an example, because examples sometimes help, right? So here's an example using clothes. So unfortunately, the UK is the European country that buys the highest number of new clothes per year. On average, each of us buy nearly 27 kilos of new clothes every year. 27 kilos is a bit of a difficult number to wrap your head around, but it could look like this: 12 jumpers, 12 t-shirts, 12 pairs of jeans or trousers, and 12 pairs of shoes. That's a lot of clothing. Yeah? That's quite a lot. But what happens with these clothes when we don't wear them anymore? Maybe we don't want them anymore, right? Unfortunately, again, we seem to throw a lot of it away, most of it, in fact. Every year in the UK, we can fill up around 460 Olympic-sized swimming pools with all the clothes that we send to recycling centres, textile banks, clothes collections, and charity shops. And another 200 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Those are the big swimming pools, right? With clothes that we send to landfill, which is really not where clothes should go because that's really bad for climate change, right? What do you think we could do? Just thinking about clothing, we're consuming a lot, wasting a lot. And along with wasting the clothes, we're also wasting a lot of energy and we're wasting a lot of the resources that are used to make these clothes. So if reducing first could help us by producing less of this waste, we could do something less often or do something differently. right? So let's see if you have some ideas of what we could do by reducing. Maybe you do this yourself already. Maybe your school does something about this. Maybe you do this at home. hmm I can see in the chat someone has said that they give their old clothes to their sister and family members, which is really good because sometimes some of us out there are at the ages where we're growing out of a lot of our clothes, but they're still good. They just don't fit anymore. So they would fit someone else that we know maybe, and we can pass them on. We should buy less. Yes, absolutely. We should buy fewer new things. Maybe buy things that have been worn already by someone else. Repair our clothes. Yes, definitely. I have a pile of clothes in my basket just over there that have little holes in them that need a bit of a fix. And instead of throwing them out, I'm just going to fix the hole and then we can wear them again. Because one of my favorite jumpers has a hole right here and I really want to keep that jumper. So instead of wasting it, I'm going to fix it. Right? Donate to a charity shop. Yes, because a lot of charity shops raise funds for important causes and we can help by giving the clothes that we don't wear anymore or don't fit us to a charity shop. Buy a bigger size so they fit for longer. I know this is something a lot of parents do. Maybe a lot of you have clothes in your closets that are slightly too big, but your mom or dad have said you'll grow into it and it'll last longer this way. Oh, and someone is saying they have a clothes stall in their school, which is amazing, especially for school uniforms. Sometimes you grow out of that rather quick, but it still is good and someone else could use it. So a clothes stall in your school is very good. Share with cousins. Yeah, that was definitely my experience growing up. Share old trainers when we change shoe size, because yes, shoes are another one. Oh, and Miss Beatty says sell them on eBay or Vinted. Miss Beatty's very clever. And there's a clothing bank in someone else's school beside the food bank in the front door for all families. That's brilliant. It's a good way of sharing in your community. Right. Reuse is a brilliant next step, right? So here are some examples, like someone has said in the chat, a swap event. Here's one that we had in our old office where we brought in clothes that we just didn't wear as often and we swapped them around all of our staff. And you can see my colleagues there enjoying the books and the photo frames and trying on each other's clothes that we just don't wear anymore. And I scored a very nice dress out of this event. So that was a lot of fun. So here's something for you to do in your class. Hands up if your school or class has ever done a swap event. Put my hand up because we've done several of these actually. And someone else in the chat is saying that old clothes that you don't wear very often anymore or don't wear anymore at all could be used to make costumes. That's very clever. I hadn't thought of that one. That's a good one. So put your hands up if you've done a swap event. Yeah. Let me know. Oh, book swap as well. A book swap is another one because even though we're just focusing on clothes for this example, books are another thing that quite often get thrown out when they don't need to be because, they're still usable by someone else. A book swap is another good one. And I don't know if you can see in the photos here, maybe not, but we did have a good pile of books as well at our swap event. Okay, how about recycling? How many of you recycle at home? I do. And how many of you recycle at school? When I went to school, which was a while ago, we were just starting to recycle. So, excuse me, my eco committee back in high school started recycling in our school. So I can put my hand up for that one too. I hope it's a lot of you recycling at home and at school. A lot of answers say you recycle lots of different things. And some people saying they also do a litter pick every day, which is bonus points. Well done. But is recycling good? Well, yes, because it saves energy, because remember that producing new things means that you need a lot of energy, right? But recycling, you still need energy, but it's much less because you're starting with the thing that you want to make already. And in the case of plastics, you're just melting it down and making a new plastic item. So you put less energy in when you recycle. It saves resources because instead of putting plastics or metal or glass into the rubbish, into the landfill, you're using that. So you're starting with the materials you already need. So it saves resources as well, and it reduces the amount of waste going to landfill, which we really, really need to do, right? So all of these things are good aspects of recycling. All of these are good, but we have a little problem because less than 50% of what we waste at home is making it into our recycling bins. Actually, in Scotland, if we want to be very specific, it's even less. It's 42%. So that's less than half, okay? Less than half. And nearly 1 in 5 things, items that we could put in the recycling bin, that we do put in the recycling bin, sorry, can't be recycled. So we're not putting the things that we need to put in the recycling bin in there. It's not making it into the bin for whatever reason. And then some of the things that we're putting in the recycling bin thinking, I'll recycle this, can't actually be recycled. Can you think of any reasons why you might put something in the recycling bin, but it can't be recycled? What could be going wrong there? What could be wrong with some of the things that we're trying to recycle? This is maybe a bit of a tricky one because it might be different at school than at home. So maybe think of what you recycle at home, okay? And maybe why you might put something in the bin and it gets left behind because no, we can't recycle that. There's a few reasons. If you're not sure, that's okay, right? Maybe say to the person next to you why you think it might not be able to be recycled. Okay, right, let's find out. This could be because of these reasons here. Ah, there we go. We're getting some answers through just now, and some of them are right. Yes, well done. Besides the fact that not all local authorities, so the places that you live in, because I know we're spread out all over Scotland today, not all local authorities collect the same type of recycling waste. So that's a problem. Sometimes we don't pay a lot of attention to what we're putting in the bin. The main reasons why sometimes a whole lorry load of recycling waste might end up in the landfill is contamination, right? So it's mixed in with stuff that doesn't belong there. And this could be because we're not rinsing our recycling very well. So it still has bits of food stuck to it. And we're putting things in the wrong recycling bin. So I'm not sure where all of you are, but I'm in Stirling and I have 4 different bins and a box that I have to put my waste into. So if I put something in the wrong color bin, it won't be picked up. I made that mistake a few weeks ago where I just wasn't paying attention and I put a bunch of recycling into the bin that food waste is supposed to go into. And I didn't notice until it was supposed to be picked up. And the bin man opened the bin, went, oops, nope, and put a little note on my bin that said, please fix this, and then we'll pick it up. You put things in the wrong bin, then they can't take it. And then maybe not reading the labels properly. You know, there's little labels on the backs of things that tell us information. Maybe we're misreading some of those. Okay, so let's do a little game. We like games. I love games. Can this right here, can this go in the recycling bin? Right? Thumbs up if you think it can. Thumbs down if you think it cannot. Right? Your teacher can tell me if you think yay or nay. Let's see what you think, because this is one of the most common things that happens. Oh, I'm seeing lots of no's, lots of thumbs down. Yeah, you're very smart because it can't. Glass is the #1 thing that is contaminated or mixed up with things that shouldn't be in there, with many households making the mistake of thinking that older broken drinking glasses or glass dishes can go in the recycling. But glass dishes and glass bottles are slightly different kinds of glass. and they melt at different temperatures, so we can't put them together to make new glass because they won't stick together. They won't melt together. They'll end up with clumps. So instead of like glass soup, you'd end up with glass tapioca pudding, and that won't work. So no, broken crockery and drinking glasses can't go in your recycling. What about these? Can these go in your recycling bin just the way they are? What do you think? Thumbs up if yes, and thumbs down if nope. There is a definite main reason why this can't go in, but there is another less thought of reason where you might want to fix something about this before you put it in the recycling. Lots of no, 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 and thumbs down. Wash them first. Aha, see, you're very clever. Because a little bit of leftover loose food now and then might be okay because recycling will go through at a very high temperature wash, right? Just to get all the stickiness away from them. But too much of it or food that gets stuck and won't come out of the package could end up contaminating the whole lot of recycling and could make it all end up in landfill or in being sent for incineration, which is not good. The other reason why you might want to fix something about this is if you think about all the bin men carrying the recycling to the lorries and putting it in the bin, there's a very sharp lid sticking out there. So what I always like to do is I tuck that inside the tin so that no one cuts their fingers when they're doing my recycling for me. So as you've probably noticed, there are a bunch of symbols on the backs of things, on containers that we have food in or other items. And there's a bunch of symbols on those. So what do you think? Do something like this, something with this symbol, can that go in the recycling bin? Thumbs up if yes, and thumbs down if no. This is a tricky one. What do you think? A green symbol with some arrows on it. Do you think it can go in the recycling bin? I'm seeing lots and lots of thumbs up. So a lot of you think that yes, this could go in the recycling bin. But the answer is actually not necessarily. Maybe, maybe not. This green dot symbol only tells you that the company who made the product pays a fee to help fund the recycling system, usually in Europe. It doesn't actually mean that it's always recyclable. It means the company supports recycling where possible. So how about this one? Can something with this symbol go in the recycling bin? The 3 arrows in a triangle. What do we think? 3 arrows all in a triangle on a package. Can that package go in your recycling? Thumbs up if yes, thumbs down if no. And again, I'm seeing lots and lots of thumbs up. But again, the answer is not necessarily. This symbol only tells you that the product can maybe be recycled. But that depends on where you are and if it gets collected or not. Remember, we said a minute ago, not every local authority collects every item of rubbish, right? Not everyone collects the same recycling and not everyone does it in the same way. So maybe, this is another maybe. How about this one? Can something with these symbols go in the recycling bin? What do you think? Thumbs up if yes, thumbs down if no. There's a lot of people saying maybe. A lot of people saying the green one says yes and the black one says no. Do you think? So these symbols, a lot of you are getting this right. These symbols say that you can recycle these things if you pay attention to the instructions, right? So this one, could be on a bottle of fizzy juice, for example. You know, sometimes they have that plastic cover on them. Well, what this is telling you is that you have to peel that off, and then you can recycle the cap and the bottle, but you can't recycle this little plastic sleeve because it shouldn't go in with the bottle. They're two different types of plastic, right? But we know that, at least in Scotland, that soft plastic can go back to most supermarkets. They will take soft plastics like plastic bags and food wrappers and cling film. They'll also take that kind of soft plastic. So what this is telling you is, yes, this item can be recycled, but if only if you separate these parts. Okay, because remember, just like glass, you can't mix two different kinds of plastics either because they won't melt together and they'll get all lumpy and contaminated, and then we can't use all of that material. Right? So we know it can be a bit confusing sometimes, but we need to keep trying our best because recycling is important. It's important for turning this moose into a mouse. And the easiest thing we can do is reduce how much we consume, right? Remember, reduce first. Use reusable things as much as possible. When we were at Environment Community High School yesterday, we were talking about the best way to avoid all of this huge litter problem they seem to be having in their woods. And the litter we were collecting was mostly plastic bottles and single-use things. And we had a good chat about how using one of these can help. And by bringing your own coffee mug or water bottle when you're out and about, that can be one thing that you can do to really help the spread of litter, because less waste can mean less of it goes in the wrong place. So what would we like you to do today? If you haven't already, give the adopted space a try. There's a worksheet in the resources folder, and we'd love to hear about your favorite place that you'd like to adopt and take care of. Maybe it's the playground where you like to play. It's maybe a park nearby. Maybe it's your school grounds. Maybe it's a community garden. Excuse me. We'd love to hear about your plans for your special place. And every single piece of litter that you remove from this place of yours is a piece of litter that can no longer harm wildlife and no longer looks awful and stops people from playing, right? And if you want an extra challenge, here we've got design a lunchbox or a birthday party with as little waste as possible. How would you throw a party that maybe even had zero waste? What could you do? And if you'd like an extra challenge, you could maybe also write down the recipe of one of the things you would prepare for your lunchbox or party that could be as zero waste as possible. And even further, if you want a real challenge, you could calculate the cost of your zero waste lunchbox or party. That might be a fun thing to do for maths. And the next thing we'd like you to do is, if you haven't already, please join our new litter league. Tell us how many bags of litter you've picked up on your litter pick for spring clean. And there's a trophy in it for the region who picks up the most litter. And there's a national trophy as well for the Spring Clean Champion for this year. Claim some cleanup glory and collect the most bags of litter in your region. That would be a fun thing to do. And it also gives us information on how much of this litter problem is being taken on by volunteers like yourself. It's a really important thing for us to know. Okay. So just like we asked before, did you enjoy today's live lesson? I hope you did. Thumbs up if you did, lots. Thumbs to the side if a little bit, and thumbs down if I haven't done a very good job today and it's meh, nah. Okay. I really hope you enjoyed today. I really enjoy spending time with you every morning. But obviously, if there's something about today that you've thought, not so much, it would be good to know, because then we can do better next time. Can you think of one thing you have learned today? I'm seeing some thumbs up in the chats. Thank you very much. But can you tell me one thing you learned today? Is there something that's really stuck out to you that you would like to remember? Not to recycle broken glass. Yep, that's a good one. Don't recycle broken things. The first thing we should do is reduce our waste. Yes. It's a good one. We should reduce how much we buy. Yes. Yep. There's some things you can't recycle. These are all things that our live audience has said that they've learned today. If you're joining us on the recording, maybe you can share that with the person next to you or share it with your teacher. Yeah. Learn to read the recycling labels more closely. Excellent. We always like hearing from you. So if you can, please say hello and share your work with us. Show us the place that you've decided to adopt. Show us your party plans for your zero waste party. And also, if you've been on a litter pick already or you're planning one, we would love to hear about that as well. You can find us at the usual places at KSB Scotland and also ecoschools at keepscotlandbeautiful.org. And I hope you can all join us tomorrow to see all the amazing work that you've been sending in to us so far during the week, because we're going to showcase it on tomorrow's assembly. So if you can, please send us a photo of you saying hello or an example of the work that you've been up to throughout the week, because we would love to share all of your amazing work with all of you, because we know you can't see each other, but we'd love to share it with you tomorrow. So I hope to see you tomorrow. And also, if you have any questions about any of the lessons throughout this week, you can send them to us as well, and we will do our very best to have an answer for you. Okay? So thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you tomorrow.